harness your roots or get closer to your roots.
Yeah.
It's something that I kind of pushed away for so long.
Definitely.
And now it's making me stronger.
Yeah.
Welcome to Set Life, where we tell stories from our industry. I'm Kelly Leger, and this is Amber Buto.
Hey guys, welcome back. We're here at Studio One in For the One Studios. We're back at Set Life Podcast. Man, we're gonna have a good time today. Schreider's actually gonna be hosting this, but I'll go ahead and intro in. My name is Jose Narseri, and I'll go ahead and let you reintroduce yourself.
I'm Schreider Davina,
and we're gonna have an awesome guest today. So man, Jose Rodriguez, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
You are a photographer, a filmmaker. It's a lot. I remember we went through the questionnaire. There's a lot of stuff you do, and it all sounds awesome, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Jose Rodriguez. I am a freelance videographer that taps into directing and director of photography.
Nice.
And that's how also my photography work bleeds into my everyday job too.
Yeah. Our mutual friends, Jan and Jess, shout out to Ensemble. I'm wearing their merch today.
Yes.
They celebrate 4 years.
Plug.
They told me about you. Like, hey, you need to meet this guy. And in that video that they were showing me at the restaurant, you were playing guitar.
Ooh,
this was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like, you shot everything yourself. You wrote the music. Like, this guy's like, dude, this guy's way too much talent.
That's cool.
And you just a week back, like, I met you at the same room that they showed me the video in. Like, so we've been friends for on Instagram for about a year.
Yes.
That's cool.
Like, his Instagram handle is My Eyes Adjust. Yeah.
Oh, is that really? That's cool.
Mm-hmm. That's so cool. Yeah. So where did that come from?
My Eyes Adjust. Okay. We can start there, I guess. My Eyes Adjust it's a moniker for me. It was more of a personal project that started back in 2013, 2014. I'm going to sound old right now.
Yeah, don't reveal your age.
But no, I'm not revealing my age. But this was when Instagram was pretty much like really tapping into the photography community and the creative community. It's not what Instagram is now. It was not what Instagram is now.
It's really good then.
Yeah.
So it was... there are a million Jose Rodriguez in the world, I feel. So I always wanted to come up, I don't know, I guess with a name that was going to be unique, let's say. At the time it felt unique. It made sense for what I did as a photographer. I feel like our eyes are always adjusting. It's like you have to adjust light, you have to get adjusted to the situation that the light is giving you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I've always championed natural light too.
Love that.
So it just kind of was a play on words like that that just seemed to resonate to what I was doing at the time, which was more photography. I think now I don't feel as attached to the name as much, but I did get a little bit of a following at the time that I feel that I want to conserve that. Yeah. And I guess it kind of stuck, let's say.
That's cool.
Personally, right now, 2024, I'm not as attached to the name anymore.
Yeah.
So that's why.
That's so cool. And you mentioned you did photography. I also know that you're not from the U.S., correct? Is that true?
Yes.
Where are you from?
I was born and raised in Guatemala, in Guatemala City, which is the capital of Guatemala. I spent my whole life there till I was 18, and I got the opportunity to go to study to Buenos Aires, Argentina. I studied film and television there and spent 5 years living in Buenos Aires, where I learned so much of the basics about film and how to tell a story visually, about the visual language of movies, let's say. I would say that the program was more theory-based than practice. So it gave me a lot of foundation on how to tell stories, let's say. So I graduated college and I graduated with a degree in film and television studies, with also an associate degrees for art history.
Wow, what a combo.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yes, I've always been a fan of art in
Yeah.
general. I also champion the arts. I'm like very passionate about art in general. So it just made sense, and I think it has helped me in my work, and it inspires me a lot, I guess. I'm really interested in it. And graduated college, spent one more year in Buenos Aires trying to make a living. I mean, these were times that I, I was taking any job that I could get. I was working for nonprofits, trying to tell their stories, and I was getting, $250 for a 3-minute video.
Wow.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. And run and gun solo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Seriously, like no experience on how to handle like the business side of things. I just wanted to like prove myself that I wanted to that I could, that I could provide a service to somebody. And I struggled there a little bit, but did some other like personal art projects that helped out photography wise. And I had some what's it called? Some exhibitions and that kind of stuff. So I decided to move back to Guatemala and reconnect with the film community there. Now that I had all this foundation, all this knowledge, let's say, or this exposure, not knowledge, because we're always learning, right? But the foundation that I got in Buenos Aires, which was an explosion of inspiration. I mean, Buenos Aires is like combine Paris and New York in Latin America.
Wow.
Like it's
cool.
vibrant. It's they have like an immense appreciation for the arts, for culture, for theater, for movies. I mean, watch an Argentinian movie. They're always good. Sorry, they're always good. They always borrow a lot from French cinema too, from European cinema. So they have their own unique, like they created like their own blend of of style of cinema, I think. So I'm very lucky to have been exposed to that.
That's cool.
Went back to Guatemala and started getting involved with all the people that were my age, let's say, or a little bit older, that had done the same thing as I did. Some had studied in Vancouver, some had studied in LA. There was no film school in Guatemala at the time. So we all, like everybody who wanted to do any sort of, I guess, media communication or more focused on filmmaking or television had to go out of town, let's say.
Yeah.
And that has changed very much, and they have great schools now there.
That's awesome.
So coming back to that, started getting involved in that community. It was fun. We were like working on indie films, like basically
the grind.
Basically. And there was a script and there was a director, and he would bring everybody in, and it was all like fresh new talent, let's say, basically self-funded, or like we could get like some sponsors or something, but we just wanted to like pretend to be filmmakers kind of thing. We did. We released a few movies, and although low budget, but they're still close to my heart, let's say. I ended up doing a lot of BTS documentary stuff for those films, but then eventually edited those films too.
Wow.
Editing movies is another
that's a beast.
It's a bite.
And
when people post the timelines, I'm like, oh gosh,
pass.
And this was fresh out of college.
Wow.
So
you got thrown right into it.
It was pretty intense, but it was also, it just felt exciting too at the same time. Cool. I'm gonna say that. So obviously fast forward now, as we kept going, I started to think like to myself, like, okay, I do love film. I do love the scripted, like narrative fiction, like the telling of stories of, fictional characters and all that. But I kind of want to you know, have some stability in my
Yeah,
life.
yeah. No,
I
that's
don't wanna
real.
be poor my
Yeah.
whole life.
Starving. I don't
So-
want to be no starving artist for the
Yeah.
rest of my life. That's
And
very
still
real.
wanna
That's
bed.
very true.
yeah, and at that time I was very much like, you know, art for art's sake kind of thing.
Yeah.
And something started to shift, and I got in contact with a production company down there, started working for them freelancing, and then they eventually hired me, and this is where I come in and, you know, start working as one of their main videographers in that company. And that company had many clients, not only local clients but also abroad, a lot in the United States too, and they were focusing on sports and lifestyle, a lot of also more corporate industry, let's say, cement plants, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I learned the ropes.
Yeah,
Very
because you had a plethora
Yeah.
of like things, different avenues to.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that was the best training ground for me, because although I did study film, I didn't get the opportunity to like really practice film.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it was so theory based.
Yeah.
And nothing wrong with the program. I love it. I loved it at the time, but I think, you know, everybody has that. I would say everybody, but I was terrified of holding a video camera. I was never terrified of holding a photography, like a photo camera, but a video camera scared me. So just getting over that fear and just being at the company, we're like, okay, we're gonna go shoot this day, and there was a call sheet, and we just had to be there at the site, and this is the shot list, and you just like start learning the ropes like that. I had a good like I said, I had a good foundation on how to tell stories. So I think that's where the director side comes in.
Yeah.
So, but also fell in love with the camera at the same time.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's hard. You know, everybody asks me like, "Are you a director or a director of photography?" And I'm like, I'm kind of both.
Yeah.
I like, I'm never gonna stop shooting. So,
That's the beautiful
Yeah.
thing about in Houston is I mean, LA, New York, and all that kind of stuff. If you want to be on set, like they need you to figure out who you want to be.
Yeah.
Like you just want to, they want your niche down. Yeah, right. But like in Houston, the landscape is so different. It's almost like you have to be almost like a Swiss Army knife. Like one day you could be gaffing, one day you could be a key grip, or you could be a DP in the next one. You know, like that's how that's the like as much as I want to niche down. Like in Houston, it's a totally different landscape. Like
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I think I've spoken with many people that, you know, live in LA or New York or even where I'm from, Guatemala, that work in the film industry, and they still don't understand this kind of one-man band situation, which I am not advertising for that either. That is not healthy.
That was hard.
That is not healthy.
yeah,
I've been there.
depending on the scale of the projects.
Yes,
right.
Of course. But I've really been trying to get away from that for a long time now. So, and yes, of course I do it still, but it's like you said, it depends on the project.
and necessary to stay alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Dude.
As long if it can pay the bills. And I also have to be excited about the project, to be honest. So I think you're so right. I think here in Houston, the community is very open and very versatile to creating these different roles that merge into each other. And I was recently at a production at a shoot where I was working with an art director from New York who has a lot of experience in fashion shoots, let's say. And I was directing the video shoot, but I was also handling cables. And he was like,
so confused.
What
Like, what
are
is
you
going
doing?
on?
Like, there is people for this.
Yeah,
There is a role for people to handle cables. And I'm like, yes, but it's like in my nature as well to just like,
yeah.
I think as long as, I think that's more of that, like the collaboration aspect.
Yeah.
Like everybody helps each other.
Yeah.
Because if I have 2 minutes to roll cables, why am I not going to do that?
Yeah.
You know,
Hierarchy is
it's
definitely like a thing in different markets, you know, like.
I feel like Houston too is so special because exactly to what you're saying, it's man, there's just this team spirit kind of heart that everyone has here, right? And I think it's a little bit to stem with like, all right, well, LA, everyone knows LA is the film world, right? And then you got New York, it's like, well, everyone knows, man, all my editorials, all my photography kings are all out there. But then it's like Houston, we're in this position of like, well, we're on the map too. Like you got to put us on the map. And I think it's developed this heart of like, I'll just be that Swiss Army knife guy. I'll be that person who knows how to roll cables and be a key grip or a lighting director or the DP or a director. Like I'll fill in whatever spot I can fill in because I want to be in that. And I think that's so special about the city that we're in is you get guys like this who are now influencing us how to be a photographer, how to be a director, and give us a good piece of wisdom in that area. That's also like, man, that's so good. I can follow that up. I can actually step into that and do it. So
it actually works in my favor because I genuinely love doing all these things.
Yeah.
So like,
yep.
I think I would be so bored if I was just doing one thing.
Yeah.
Like I genuinely love fashion. I genuinely love sports. I just genuinely love, automotive. Like I don't think I can just be the car guy.
Yeah.
Like, and in 10 years, I'm so like I have one DP that I follow, and I've shot stills next to him while he's shooting motion. It's like one of the things he said to me is like, don't niche down. Like, one day you could be on a boat, on a cruise shooting a commercial. The next day you could be in LA shooting like a whole fashion editorial shoot. And the next day you could be in a totally different world, and you get to peak in all these different like beautiful things in life. And I'm like, that's what I want. I'm like, and I don't want to niche down. Like, niche down for what?
Yeah.
Like,
speaking about, different things we've shot or just where shooting will take you. Man, we always have a funny moment on set where we'll ask somebody, hey, what was the best thing you ever shot or the most enjoying one? There's a lot of times we'll hear somebody say, well, it wasn't my best work, but it was the most fun I had. And then you will usually follow that up with like, what's the next thing that you're like, hey, bucket list, if I could get hired as a DP or be a photographer on that, like what would that be that you still haven't done? So it's kind of like a two-part question there, but like what's something that you've done production-wise you're like, man, that was really a high one that's going to go on the shelf is like, that was great. So glad I did that.
That's a hard question. I have so many projects that I love. I think you spoke of something that I think is very true. Like sometimes the best work or the best experience doesn't necessarily mean the best work, right? I have a few that I can pick out of the top of my mind. This is fresh out of college. We were doing a documentary on rangers in the jungle that protect the Mayan biosphere, and we got to live with them for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Off the grid, completely off the grid.
Yeah.
Just with our cameras, recording their lives. Granted, this is one of my first jobs after college, so I wouldn't consider that to be like the best job that I've ever done. But the experience itself is life-changing.
Wow. Yeah, that's really cool.
Being there. But then another project that I would say that has stood out to me has been working with a local jewelry designer that literally we made it happen in a day with the most like scarce resources.
Yeah.
And the video came out beautiful. And I say this because she actually won the award for designer, like best new designer of the year.
Wow.
Through that video. Obviously her whole pitch and her whole brand is amazing.
It's still really cool though.
But she had to present a video for the pitch, and we did this video, and I still get calls just like from people that saw that video that like, hey, I want to work with you.
Wow.
Wow.
So
awesome. I love that.
Again, the video came out. I'm so proud of that work, but it's more because of the, I guess, how we troubleshoot it with the simplicity.
Yeah.
And it was very low budget, very just extremely scarce in resources, let's say. But it's like how it's okay. So whoever got into this job has to know that you are gonna be challenged every
Mm-hmm.
day,
Mm-hmm.
Every single
Yeah.
project.
How are you going to troubleshoot,
Mm-hmm.
right? How are you going to solve problems, right? So I was like, okay, I have a macro lens, I have a 2470, and I have a 50.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use that, although I wanted, I don't know, something more like an 85 or something, or I don't know, a different camera, obviously. No, we shot it like with a, I don't know,
Yeah.
it was like a 60 or something like
Yeah.
that, and it came out amazing.
Yeah, I think being scrappy is definitely a skill that like I don't like in the other parts in the
Being a
other
good problem
episode. I'm like,
solver, really. Yeah.
there needs to be a word for that skill, being scrappy, like
Yeah.
and still making a
that word.
beautiful thing. You gotta dig deep.
Yeah.
Like, okay, what? Yeah, just be creative. That's the breeding ground for creativity. Like we've made crazy stuff with $0. You know.
It's true.
So when we're giving that budget and the next go around. Okay, so still, I still apply the same scrappy mentality, but how can I stretch this even, even crazier? So
Yeah, and not to glorify that either, because I think we do have to work under responsible circumstances too, and like take care of your crew and all these stuff. And obviously, the bigger the crew, I think the better the job too, because you have more people that you can rely on and that can focus on just doing the cables, like that kind of stuff. There is an advantage to that, and so I do believe in that as well, but also believe in the magic of that kind of scrappiness, you say, that you describe, or and being under that pressure is maybe gonna make your final piece look better. So
have you ever been like have you ever felt not qualified for a job that you've ever taken on?
All my life. No, I mean, definitely getting better at that, but I think no. The answer is yes and no. I knew that I wanted to be in this business. Then, like all my life, I knew that I wanted to tell stories through a camera, like visually, and so I'm not insecure about that aspect, let's say. But moving to the U.S. 7+ years ago did put me in an imposter syndrome mindset. I was really insecure about what are they gonna think about, my accent, my, sometimes I would get very insecure about my English, about my, if my job was gonna be like up to par to the market here, or like the workflow. I thought the workflow was gonna be so different. Right. And it's actually not. Everybody, like those structures exist because of something, that even that hierarchy that you talk about, they exist all over the world, and they exist for a reason, and that's how people work down there too. So I was pleasantly surprised that was not the case when I moved here. I was embraced by the company that I came to work for at the time. And I realized that you being from another place, another country, brings this fresh perspective.
Yes.
Of, you have a unique point of view. And it was a surprising thing for me, because growing up, all we aspired to was being in the United States. The United States has, or America, whatever you want to call it, that like they do it better there. There is a quality there, the American dream kind of stuff. I'm not saying that's not real, but it seemed like an inconceivable dream, or like an inconceivable, like a tall task to achieve. And when I got here, like I said, I was very much surprised about how people were so open to where I am from, and again, the unique perspective that I can bring into these stories and into the telling of stories, from somebody that grew up in a completely different scenario than here.
Yeah.
So I think that's been valuable.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah. I just want to touch on the imposter syndrome thing. We had a shoot here. It's a fashion shoot with Arbany Gabriel. She won Miss Universe 2 years ago. And one of the questions that I asked is like, did you ever have imposter syndrome in this very room, in this very set? And she's like, yeah, I still do until today. I'm like, she's won the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you already won. What do you have to be an imposter for? Like, it just never goes away. So it's something that like you like you said, you just have to champion and just like, yeah, it's like that thing that won't go away, but you just gotta shake it off.
Yeah.
It's not gonna pay attention to it. You were there for a reason. You were called for that moment, and you just have to take a step into that space.
Yeah.
You know, like,
and I think most production people are really good risk takers too. You know, I mean, there has to be a degree of that for you to even want to get into the industry. It's like, oh, I got to take a risk. I got to maybe buy some gear that I don't know how to use, or I got to say yes to that client or that gig that I've never done that before. I mean, I think if there's anybody to put your faith in an industry, it's production people.
Yeah.
You know, from top to bottom. I mean, you could be a grip guy or a PA or the actual director, and you're like, if I'm gonna bank on somebody, I'm gonna bank on them. Because like I just know that they're gonna go for it.
Yeah.
And I think everything that you're sharing from, you know, how you got into the industry and even just like doing business now in the States of what you've gone through, it's just screaming, you know, I took a risk, I went for it. You know, you didn't hold back. There was a dream and you're like, I'm gonna go out and get that. And I just love hearing that. Like every time I hear a creative have not just a success story, but a story where they like, I took it, I went for it. It's always so
they have that
encouraging.
tenacity
Yes.
in them to like, yo, I'm gonna chase it. There's no option B. This is what I want to do in life. Like, no.
It's so worth it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
We'd rather starve.
Yeah.
Literally. No.
But the thing is, we live in a digital media.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever starve. You know, everybody needs a headshot. Everybody needs a brand story. Everybody needs some marketing ads.
What would you say to that? Like, I'd love to hear that answer on, like, let's say there's a young filmmaker who's in your shoes, right? Maybe he's coming from another country and he's like, man, how do I get into this? How do I start in the production world? Like, what's a good first step for somebody and where your shoes were at?
I would give them the advice to what's the word? It's not embracing, but like garner, like I would give them the advice to look into their roots.
Yeah.
To look into their identity, like to really question their identity and where, like, their context, and see where they can pull from a unique perspective that they can bring to the table.
Wow.
I think defending that, let's say, or just standing tall, let's say, I am here to provide a different perspective, and while also having the openness of learning how to do things here and working with other people too that have unique perspectives, right? Like we're all the same, but we're all different. You know, we all have different upbringings, different ways to see the world, and I think that's where everything just like be open to that. I guess be open to that, because that strengthens the project. The more diverse the team, the better, I feel.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
Yeah. Storytelling just gets better.
And that's something that took me a while for me to embrace as well. Just because, you know, of the ideologies that I had, or the ideals that I had about coming to work to the United States. And I think what I would also tell them is not only find that unique perspective, but also tell them, but also push them to find what their skills are and foster those, because some people are not born to be camera operators. Some people are born to be producers.
Yep.
Some people are born some people are born to be editors.
Yeah.
Like, and I do think a little bit about I do believe a little bit in this, that there's like a calling.
Mhm.
I do believe there's a calling for that. I believe it is innate.
Yeah.
I believe it is a gift that you have to harness. And I might contradict myself right now, but I also feel that see what you're really good at, harness those skills, but also be very open to any other thing, any other career that might that might come your way. I think we all have multiple careers in ourselves.
That's a good way of saying that.
Wow.
I like that.
And I know it's very hard to take it from us working in productions and shoots and video production.
I don't
and
want to do anything
photography.
else.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do anything else. But Shadow, you introduced me with something that I don't do as much anymore, but I taught myself acoustic guitar in college.
Yeah.
And that led into me writing songs that I started playing for people, for friends and family, and they were all like, "Oh, you should like really like go for this, or you should like really like try to do something with this."
Yeah.
So I decided to record some of those songs. I called some friends and I was like, let's record some songs." There is only one song that has been published or out in the world, but that also gave me the confidence to get out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Extremely important to be out of your comfort zone.
Yep.
I hate it, but it's so necessary.
It's true. It's really true.
And allowing yourself to explore these different avenues of creativity, and even though if you don't do anything with it in the end, you know that you did it.
Yes.
And that you crossed that bridge. You know?
Yeah. Because we're such perfectionists, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's a totally different landscape today. Like, no, just put stuff out. Like, get to the finish line. Like, see it through. And then if you don't like it, you don't have to go do it again.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, better to, say that you've done it and not liked it than to live with regret and not have ever done it.
Amen.
That's what I believe in.
Yeah.
That's what I believe in. So more risk taken, find your unique point of view, and harness your roots, or get closer to your roots.
Yeah.
It's something that I kind of pushed away for so long.
Definitely.
And now it's making me stronger.
Yeah.
Because I've been tapping more into, okay, where do I come from? What's my identity? I have actually something unique to give to the world.
Yeah, definitely. As a fellow immigrant, I'm like, my first agenda was I need to blend in. I need to look like everybody else. But no, actually, that your heritage and your roots strength
It's gotta be
will give you
true
strength.
you.
Yeah,
It's really cool.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram under My Eyes Adjust, and my website, which is myeyesadjust.com.
That's awesome.
Awesome, man.
What's the future looking like?
The future looks a little different, actually. I am currently revamping my website. It might be revamped when this podcast comes out live. I am not changing my website name, but I am looking to establish a more formal company for video production.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Still thinking about the name, still thinking about, I don't know, people tell me like, oh, you should use your name because like so much of what you do is like has your signature, let's say.
Yeah. You're like SEO though.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's
so cool. Yeah, maybe we can talk about that over coffee one day.
Yeah.
Sounds good, man.
I'm down to workshop stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's branding and all that stuff, but that is the future for me. And just tapping more into the projects that I've been working more lately. I somehow fallen more into the lifestyle and fashion industry here in Houston and nationwide as well. So just trying to I guess, not niche too much, but like really use that as a strong asset to and foster that asset, you know,
That's
make
so
it
cool.
grow more.
Yeah.
So
guys, if you want to follow Jose's journey, you can follow him and the website My Eyes Suggest, and keep a lookout for his future work. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Set Life. Once again, I'm your boy Shada Davina, and this is
Jose Arceri. And man, we're just so glad you came through today, Jose.
thank you so much for having me. I love this space. And I love that this space is fostering a community of creatives. I've been able to use this space before and had the pleasure. So yeah, I'm honored that I'm here. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Man.
Sweet. Keep a lookout for more episodes. If you haven't, go watch the other episodes. A lot of different creatives in the industry. Yeah. That's all I have to say. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.